It's not working. Well, the recording system isn't working, but please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Additions or corrections to the agenda. I'd like to add township officials' conduct, number 5. I had that request from Jim Bauer today about 4 o'clock this afternoon. So with that addition, entertain a motion to correct the, approve the agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Bill, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jason. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying nay. Passed unanimously. Public comment for agenda items. Hearing none, we'll move ahead here. Approval of the minutes, December 11th, 2025.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from December 11th.
Moved by Barb to approve the December 11th minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Rob. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying nay. Passed unanimously. The next item is the treasurer's report. It wasn't my phone this time.
Motion to approve.
Moved by Bill to approve the treasurer's report. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Barb. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying nay. Passed unanimously. The building department monthly report is here along with the building department year-end report. That's for information only. Next item is approval of the bills.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
Move to pay the bills. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ashley. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying nay. Passed unanimously. And the next item is the spring cleanup days. I think I sent everybody the information on this. I worked fairly hard with different people here this past week to get this set up. April 17th and 18th. And Rex Baker has been so nice to volunteer the use of his property there. And I showed you a map of that. And it's on, this is the old alt storage building. And Rex has made that into just a beautiful business there. And it's on Prospect, and then as you go on Prospect is just east of his building, and then you drive down Hickory, turn right there, and then you turn right down Aspen, and it gives a real good place for staging, which wasn't very good when we were out to the old Meyer Schoolhouse on Division. You got a lot of areas where people can wait to dump. We can put the containers along the railroad. I think there's enough room there. There's a lane there, and plus there's quite a lot of room on both sides of the road there for the containers. And I think it's and there's no charge. Rex is so nice to the community. no charge, and then, Friday, it would be, let's see now, I think it's, I'll look on his, on American Classic Steel. He said, let's see now. Friday, delivered by 9 AM to 4 PM, closed sharply. And that's on Friday, and then Saturday was, 8 AM, delivered by 8 AM to 2 PM, closed sharply. And then, same guy that did last year, American Classic, give us this quote. So, I would just love to see the board approve this tonight, and then, I got an email from Elizabeth, and then she can kinda put it in the, Sparta today, and, I'm just real fired up about it.
Just a couple questions. Obviously, he's got his brand new building there. He's got concrete all around it.
Yeah,
We're basically putting the containers in road right away and on railroad property?
I think there's, even if we had to close that road, that lane there, I think that'd be all on Rex's property. And then there's potential, if that was a problem, to go, he said, even on the other side of the road, so. But I don't think, I don't think that's gonna be a problem, I really
So
don't.
the dumpsters will be here,
No, the dumpsters will be on Aspen.
but one, and
But
one
I'm
way and out
saying-
the other.
I'd say they'd be along the railroad property, at least try it, I don't think there's any problem there.
Is that a private road?
No.
No, but you see, that's all part of his property, this yellow line, the faint line on the other side of the middle of the road on Aspen there, it's, yeah, that's, but he says either side of the road would work, so. I would try him on the east side. You got any ideas on that, Jim, or?
Well, when we discussed it, I thought you're gonna be putting them on Rex property,
Yeah.
his property, so,
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, we don't have a problem with that.
Okay, good.
I don't think they're gonna be on his property though.
Oh,
Well, I'm
Well,
looking at it, it looks like they're gonna be on the railroad's property.
but I think you could even use this road here, see,
You mean Hickory?
no, I don't mean Hickory, no, I mean,
Aspen?
Aspen, yeah.
That's a public road.
Yeah, but I thought you could put them in here if you had to, couldn't you?
I guess you could.
So.
You'd have to block part of the road off.
But they don't need, because that's their exit anyway. But he does have plenty of room on this side too, if that's where he has it.
Right.
He said he'd do whatever we want to there, so.
I don't, fine with me. As long as we don't have a problem with the closing part of the road.
Right.
we'll have to work through it, I thought they were gonna be on his property, but I'm willing to work with Dale on, I don't see it as a huge issue.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
And he says it's a big enough lot?
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of space there, there really is. Just the idea that's like, okay, putting it in the road right away is one thing, and then dumping it over on the railroad property is like, a lot of people use that, but
Well, and I know it says close sharply, so I think last year there was issues of people showing up and getting denied towards the end. So does that mean if they're in line by 2 or by 4, they're guaranteed to get through the line?
I think
See, I believe, isn't that what he said last
I
year?
think last year they had to be through the line.
Done by 2.
Done by that.
they're closing it too.
Okay,
They removed the
And 4.
dumpsters at 2 and 4.
okay. So I guess we would wanna make that clear too, is
Right.
allow enough time.
I think when Tom Alt, didn't he park his trucks on that side of the road?
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. So,
Well, there's still trucks parked up
yeah,
to the south farther on, I'm sure it's railroad property, but don't know.
does Rex own the south building across Hickory?
Mm-hmm.
There's
Yes.
quite a spot in there, I mean, if worst case scenario, they could put dumpsters in that little hole where there looks like there's trailers in on your picture.
Well, that's been all remodeled now, Ron.
Has it?
Mm-hmm. There's no trailers there.
No, I know, but it's kinda crumpled, last I saw it was crumpled pavement or cement, so. But I think it'll work.
Yeah. It's easy in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the traffic flow will be a lot better than where it was last year.
Did you get a quote?
Yep, my coat's right here.
What was it?
Well, it's kinda like last year, you know, some things, it's not like your bottom line quote. It explains all the things that are gonna be done, so you gotta do a little addition, I suppose, but,
Right.
I don't know what it was, the total was last year, but I'm sure it'll be pretty similar to that.
Last year, did we pay to have them supervise that? Was that something
Yeah, we had-
mandatory or was it
They do
optional?
know.
Yeah, that we had them supervise it, yeah.
Seems like it was close to 10 grand last year. Well, I know the residents really like it, so I make a motion to go ahead with it.
Moved by Marcy to approve the presented cleanup days information here tonight.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying nay. Passed unanimously. Good. And the third thing on our agenda here is appointments to the fire authority. And Dan, if you wanna explain that, it wouldn't hurt.
As we've moved forward and got the authority approved and finalizing the articles of incorporation with the Secretary of State's office, one of the items that has to be addressed on there is the authority members have to be appointed. They can either be the current board members reappointed back on, but on the understanding that they are part of the authority now instead of the actual fire board. And then once they are appointed at our next board meeting, we will then have positions of a chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer appointed within our authority. So it's just kind of a formality to go through. I know the village is gonna address it at their next council meeting. You know, just to reappoint, so talking with Dale at our finance meeting the other day, asked for him to put it on the agenda so it can be brought up so we can keep the process moving, so. Thanks.
So is there a motion and second to appoint Dale Bergman to the fire?
So moved.
Moved by Bill, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ashley, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying nay. Thanks a lot. I really enjoy being on the fire board. And is there a motion and second to appoint Bill Goodfellow, who does an excellent job on the fire board?
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Rob, is there a second?
Second.
And a second by Barb. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying nay. Passed unanimously. And then our member at large is Dean Anderson, and he's just done an excellent job too. So is there a motion to approve
I'll
Dean
make that motion.
Anderson on the fire authority? And Bill's made that motion. Is there a second?
Second?
Second by Marcy. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying nay. Passed unanimously. That's good, Dan.
Thank you.
Dan does an excellent job too.
Yes, he does.
Now, the next item on our agenda is the Berger property purchase, and I asked Mike Lamb to come. I always like to see Mike. You know, he's on our board of review, and he does an excellent job on that. But you might wanna kinda introduce it, and then I can say my little thing.
Well, Nancy Berger owns the parcel of land on the backside of Greenwood Cemetery. The address is 180 LaRue Lane in the village. And she would like to offer it to the village, or to the township of Sparta, for purchase. So it could be used for expansion of the cemetery. It's about 3/4 of an acre in size. She would like to offer it to the village at the current market value based on the SEV. So it would be 43,800. Sent by
And you said village, township.
township, yeah. It adjoins right back to the back part of Greenwood Cemetery.
They've all got maps of it.
Is it wooded?
Yes, it is.
All fully wooded?
I would say so, yeah.
A little wet, a couple spots, there's a drain runs through it,
It's not in the wetland.
no. There's a, I think the county's got a drain that dumps in there, right in the corner.
I did include the wetlands map too. In your packet.
We did have, the gal that's in charge of her, estate did stop into the township the other day and, we did explain to her that it was kind of at a bad time because we weren't sure about the cityhood thing and adding to a cemetery that we might not possibly own or in the future. And she did say that there's not a hurry on it. If we want to show some interest in it, like we wanted to purchase, it wasn't a hurry on purchasing it at this point.
She could always donate it.
I kind of tried that. She told me the price and I'm like, this.
You could write it off on her taxes. She doesn't live in the home anymore, correct?
I don't know, she's at Meadowlark now.
I'm sorry, she's what?
At Meadowlark.
Oh.
Chuck, do you have any insight on how you feel about this property? Have you walked it?
Walked it, it would need some money to clear up. I've roughly estimated about placement of 800 graves in addition to what we have there now. And I could be short on that, but I'm trying to gauge safely.
How much do we sell the grave for?
Resident rate is 300.
$240,000. Sounds like a pretty good investment.
I would think so.
I don't know if we at least wanna wait till we do our budget this year before we decide.
I would. I'd wait and see what her budget looks like.
Yeah. I think there's interest and need.
I think there's interest in it, but she did say there was no hurry, so.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I think that could be the consensus of the board, who wait until we're drawing up our budget, and get back with her.
Okay.
Yeah, let her know we're interested.
All right, yeah, she just wanted open negotiations
Oh,
with the township, so.
Well, that's great, Mike, I appreciate you coming tonight.
All right.
And the fifth item on our agenda is township officials' conduct. And I guess I'll hand it over to you, Jim.
Thank you, Tim. I've got a handout that I'd like to distribute. And I forgot the secretary. Okay, thank you very much, Dale and board members, for allowing me to appear before you tonight. I don't often, when I do these things, read verbatim, but I spend a bit of time trying to, consolidate my thoughts, on the issue. So I think what I'll do is I'll just read what I put together, and, we can kind of go from there if you want to have any type of back and forth on it. So I'm appearing before you tonight to address specific issues arising from the most recent village council/planning commission meeting, as well as a broader and troubling pattern of behavior we have observed throughout 2025, including during cityhood committee meetings. Attached to this memo is security footage showing Deputy Clerk Jody Hyde and Trustee Barb Johnson distributing information that was materially false and factually misleading. I've also included a copy of the document they were distributing. While the document itself is of limited value, the core issue lies in what these individuals posted online and what they verbally communicated to meeting attendees. The village investigated this matter and can state with certainty what was being said to attendees, with the attached document being used as quote proof to support a conspiracy-based narrative. In short, those officials, have falsely asserted that the rodeo grounds is owned by the right place, which they characterized as a data center. They further falsely claimed that the village received grant funding from the right place, and again, characterized it as a data center for the town square project. From there, they asserted this somehow demonstrated corruption, suggesting that a data center or entities connected to it were influencing village decision-making. It is unfortunate that these claims even require correction, but because they were spread publicly and privately, and because some residents took them seriously, presumably because of the individual's official public positions with Sparta Township, it's necessary to address them clearly. So allow me to be unequivocal. The rodeo grounds is privately owned. Ownership is a matter of public record. It is not owned by the right place or the MEDC. Neither the right place nor the MEDC is a data center. The village received funding through a RAP grant program, which flowed from the MEDC to the right place as part of a standard economic development structure. The funding had no conditions, no obligations, and no influence whatsoever over village decision-making. The right place and the MEDC do not attempt to influence village policy. They are economic development organizations. The village is a member of the right place, meaning they work on behalf of the village and other members of the broader economic benefit of West Michigan. Unfortunately, this incident is not isolated. There is a documented pattern in which these two individuals, and potentially others, have spread false or misleading information about the village as an organization. Trustee Johnson in particular has a history of disrupting village meetings, including cityhood committee and planning commission meetings. During the Bedford Falls rezoning and development discussions, she actively attempted to inflame opposition, tie unrelated issues to cityhood, and sow distrust among residents. There is also a repeated pattern whereby when the village has an agenda item these individuals oppose, they engage in online activity and mobilize a familiar group of township residents to attend meetings and repeat coordinated talking points. As another form of local government, the village has historically not formally addressed this behavior with the township board, despite it being disrespectful and damaging. What is different now is with the availability of the security footage, the village can present a complete and accurate picture of what has been occurring. Additionally, the deputy clerk, trustee, and other township board members have blocked many, if not most, village officials on social media. While this may appear trivial, the practical effect is not. It enables the posting of false and misleading information without any opportunity for village officials to see it in real time or respond directly. This is how false narratives take hold, and it's a central reason why I'm appearing before you tonight. So on behalf of the Village of Sparta, I'm just asking for two very straightforward actions. Number one, the township officials cease interfering in village affairs, spreading conspiracy theories, and attempting to undermine operations and credibility of the village as an organization. And number two, that the township consider adopting clear policies governing the conduct of board members and staff, both online and within the community, that prohibit the behaviors outlined. We have such policies with the village, so had this conduct happen, on behalf of like a village employee, it would have been addressed, and I don't know if you have a policy, but we think one might be important to prevent this from happening in the future. I'd be happy to answer any questions or stick around.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a comment regarding this. In the first place, I did not distribute. I was handed something, I read it, I was discussing it with another person, and the picture you have showing me hand something to someone, he asked me what I had, and I gave it to him. I did not print any of this off, and it's my understanding this all came off of your website. So I think you're misleading the group in this discussion to start with. And as to conduct, I would like to say that you've had members of your staff that have falsely accused this board of going bankrupt and doing things, so I think it goes both ways.
Of my staff? Which staff members were
Of the board, of the village board.
Okay,
So I think that in general, we all need to take a step back and stop the rhetoric and learn to get along.
I agree that we need to take a step back and stop the rhetoric, but you did just acknowledge that you handed the materials to
Somebody
members,
asked me for
and
it.
we have a photo of you doing it, and then we
I
also
agree.
interviewed these individuals, so it's not like we're just going off of the photos. We talked to a number of the folks at the meeting, and that's how we were able to, ascertain what was communicated to them by you and Ms. Hyde. So that's why I said in the memo that we have little doubt is what was done, and I think the security photos back it up.
But the information that we had came off your website. So it's not like we went out and printed off something that was false.
The board has it in front of them if they'd like to look at it, and what she's saying is technically true, but if you'd flip to the pages that in question, so the last 4 pages of what I distributed, so I included that in the packet. So you have, page number 1 is a memo from July 2025 that I put together, but please notice that under bullet point 2, they've highlighted this MEDC in right place, and then county and federal government. And then if you see the fiscal impact, they also highlighted that outlaid funds will be reimbursed through existing grant agreements and partner contributions. And then if you go to the second page, it also highlights the same thing, MEDC in the right place. If you go to the third page, they took a photograph of the Right Place's website, clicked the regional industries where it says data centers, and then highlighted that. And then on the final page, it's from the MEDC's website where they're advertising the rodeo grounds property. And then they highlighted, where it says the company in the right place. And based on the interviews with the individuals, I realized that is, sort of toxic, I would put it as. And what it was done was, it was positioned as receipts, if you will, for this narrative they were pushing, right? That's why they highlighted those things. See, the MEDC is doing this. See, the MEDC is giving this money for the Right Place for the town square. See, the Right Place is a data center. It's right on their website. That's what they were telling folks. So I will admit it was pretty creative to kind of not make it as definitive as writing down what was orally presented. And had they done that, obviously, it would have been even more problematic, but that's what was done. We know that for a fact. It's not really disputed by anyone we've talked to. So the document was used, and I mean, look at the photos. You can see what was done with it. It's in an excited way. Look at this. Look what we found. We've got them. There's this conspiracy going on, and just honestly, it was really disturbing. And it goes back to other things we've seen throughout there. And I agree with Trustee Johnson. It just has to stop, we just need to stop doing this stuff. If there's a question about the town square project, it could have been asked to the village. In fact, I was communicating with the clerk a few days beforehand, and I specifically asked, what questions do you have about this ordinance change, or what's going on? And the question was, is the meeting going to be recorded or not? And I said, no, like your equipment, we haven't quite figured it out yet. That was the question. It wasn't, where's this funding coming from? Are you being bought off by the MEDC and that? So I think you would all know that I wouldn't be here tonight if I wasn't very confident in what I put into the memo. I wouldn't have handed it out and presented it if I didn't feel I wouldn't have presented it to Dale and asked to be on the agenda. So I'm very confident in what we presented. And more importantly, I usually try to be a pretty calm guy, very professional. I'm really, really upset about it. I don't know if that came through or not. I think it's really disturbing, and I think because it seems like every meeting the ante has been being upped, right? Like it's little things, and a little more, and then a little more, and then a little more. And then in this one, it was completely over the line with what was done, and that's why I asked to appear before you tonight to address it with the board, because I think especially because one of the individuals isn't an elected official, it's an appointed official, there's got to be some standard of conduct with that, because had this been a village employee, there would have been discipline pretty much immediately. So that's all I have to say on it.
And I will state again, I did not hand out anything. Somebody asked me for a sheet of paper. I did not highlight anything on this paper. The paper came to me highlighted.
Look at the photos, you're
photo
excitedly
shows-
handing it to
You
people
can
and
say for a
distributing
fact,
it.
I'm excited.
I
You
can tell
cannot
from-
say that, sir. You
Look at-
cannot say
I'll
that.
leave it at the photos, I'd be happy to put this out to anyone who'd like to see it, I think the photos
I will
themselves, quite
share it with
honestly.
anybody
I
as
would like to
well.
say that nothing that she handed was false. It was all stuff that either you
I said
wrote.
directly in the memo that what they handed out is of limited value. It's what they orally communicated. And they used what they handed out to try to get off on this technicality that we're talking about right now to make it not as definitive, to skate by on that. That's why it's disturbing. It was intentionally done for this reason, to make it hard for us to, hold you accountable on it. And our board felt very strongly, that's why they asked me to come here and present this, that just because it was very creatively done doesn't mean that it wasn't problematic and that it shouldn't be held accountable for it.
So I have some questions, if you're so concerned about that, the stuff that you mail out. This is very creatively done too. There's a lot of false information on these things that you've.
There's nothing false in anything that
There
we
is,
put
you have
out.
right on here that what goes away, the township library millage.
Yeah.
Yep. You're not gonna, so if you guys become a city, you're not gonna pay the township library millage anymore? They're gonna vote on it in August.
How would we? It's a township millage.
Yeah, but it includes the city.
The township is putting it on the ballot, just like they would, it's just like with the fire authority, I don't really wanna get into these side issues, I really would like to stay, but I will address it, but I'd like to stay on the topic at hand. But any township-oriented millages are your guys' millages, and when we're a city, our voters are not voters or taxpayers of the township anymore, so of course it would fall off. Now, could we decide to do some kind of a partnership on the library like we did with the fire authority? Sure, we could probably do something like that, but it's a fact that the millage would fall off.
When this goes on the ballot, you will still be a village.
But if it's approved, it'll fall off, and that's exactly what the postcard says.
You can't just have it approved by village voters that voted for it and then not pay for it.
Excuse me? It's a township millage.
It is, but the village voters are voting for it because they're in the township.
I understand that you might not like that it works that way, but it does work that way.
You can't have village people vote for something and then have them not pay for it. That's it,
We're getting off track here.
and this is also false.
That's not false.
It is.
I know you looked into it, you made a bunch of phone calls on it, that stuff does get back to us. That's how the process works. It just is. I mean, we're not in the business of putting out things that haven't been thoroughly checked by, our council and a whole team of people. I mean, that's
From
just
what
what
I
we
have
do.
read,
I'm telling you,
left
it's
off the
100%.
referendum portion of this.
I'm sorry?
You left off the referendum portion of this.
Left off the referendum portion.
This is not how it goes. I called the state. Yes. the
But if
state.
you'd like to go to our website, on the cityhood tab, there's a more detailed explanation of the process, and it has all the steps on there. So again, we're distracting from the issue, we're getting into, somebody that's upset about the it's kinda like we can't have it both ways, right? On the one hand, why aren't you putting out information about cityhood? Where's the information about cityhood? We need to know. And then we put out information about cityhood, and it's stop putting out information about cityhood. So it's, we're kind of between a rock and a hard place on it, it seems like, in terms of the criticism of the postcards. We're gonna continue putting them out because that's what our residents want. They wanna know what's going on and why it's important, and, why our board, really believes in it and thinks that it's a good idea. And ultimately, they'll, at some point, it's a long process, maybe 2 to 3 year process, but they'll have at least one, if not 2 opportunities to vote on it.
Well, there's a couple things here that Jim has asked here, is that one thing, and I think he'd like to see both these happen. The township officials cease interfering in the village affairs, spreading conspiracy theories and attempting to undermine the operations and the credibility of the village as an organization. And then the 2 is that the township considers adopting clear policies governing the conduct of board members and staff, both online and within the community, that prohibit the behaviors outlined above. So those two things, now, I just heard about this at 4 o'clock, you just heard about this evening. So to me, it'd be something that you really wouldn't wanna make any decisions tonight. A policy might not be bad at all, you know, if you know, basically, I think address the policy at the credibility of things, but.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I came back up because I think it is a little ironic that we were just talking about trying to undermine the credibility, right? And right there, you're wrong about this, you're lying about this, you're putting out things that aren't true. That's the type of stuff we're talking about. It's a clear example. You know, I called on this is wrong. No, it isn't. And if you have an issue with it, you should bring it up to us, just like I'm bringing it up directly with you, instead of going on the internet and, you know, to people in the public and, again, trying to undermine the credibility. If you've got a problem with something, you know, there's a way to address it, and I didn't want to, you know, repeat the same behavior by just kind of doing it through some sort of gossip campaign. So I wanted to come right to you guys directly, outline the issues that we're having, and I really desperately hope they can stop, because we get asked all the time, what's the beef between the township and the village? Why are there all these problems? It's this stuff right here in the packet that I handed out. It's those things, right? These tactics that are done to where, oh yeah, Jim, you can't quite technically nail us down on that, but you know what I mean? We all know, and you can see from what I presented in the packet what happened, and it's just got to stop.
Well, then, in that regard though, Jim, getting back to this, that would indicate that if, you know, if people agreed tonight to number 1, that'd be it, right there. We wouldn't have to work on any policy. We could just see how that works.
I would welcome it. I mean, any change would be welcome. I think a policy is a good idea just because some of the people are staff and you need to be in a position to hold them accountable, but it's your board. You know, we really try not to meddle in your affairs. I hope you would agree with that. We don't usually come to your meetings. We had the granddaughter comment, of course, where there was a big to-do about that, and then we have this tonight. But for the most part, you know, what do you want to do with the cemetery or any other things? We don't get involved in it. So it's totally up to you. I just felt we had a moral obligation to bring it up and address it with you.
Okay.
Do you think there's a way to like get the village and the township together to like work together? Obviously, there's online stuff regarding your board members saying negative things about the village or the township or vice versa. So at some point, it's not just like the township behaviors, we're looking at village behaviors too. So I think if there's something that the township puts together, maybe there needs to be something that the village puts together as well with the board members' behaviors as well as the township behaviors.
I think
And
they
it
already
kind of
have,
works together.
I think they already have a policy on that. I'd like to see a more positive frame from both sides on everything, because it kind of makes us look foolish amongst our neighboring communities. And I think we can do that. I know we've had some disagreements and opinions on some directions on whether it's cityhood or property or an annexation, but I think there's gotta be some, and I think I'd like to see a better direction. And without jumping down a policy for, I'd like to think about that, but that would be my hope.
Yeah, it would be mine too, that we can work better together and respect each other better.
I can't disagree with Jim. I think everything's well stated here. I would say I wished everybody got along. It's hard not to, man. I've been doing this a long time and it makes it tough. As far as the policy, I wouldn't mind seeing a policy, but it's nothing we're gonna do tonight. I would like to see other township boards to see what their policies would be. I've had internal talk with people before, and I think we do need some sort of policy.
Well, we certainly could probably look into it, if that's whatever other things, and discuss it more.
Yeah, sure. Maybe we can discuss this next meeting then?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you, Jim. Well, is there anything under other informational tonight? Hearing nothing, is there any more public comment tonight? Yes. And then please state your name and your address.
Jackie Landon, new to Sparta Township. We're Native Edge and we just bought land on 15 Mile Road, 3957. My name is Jackie Landon and my husband Wes and I recently purchased land in Sparta Township. Our company is Native Edge and we are a native landscape and environmental firm. I have a master's in aquatic biology and I studied the impacts of land use on our streams and watersheds. I watched the last township meeting and attended the Village of Sparta's council meeting because I'm still kind of confused on where to go. And then I realized that there's a lot of questions about data centers. So sorry that this is about that. Some of the negative impacts that I just want to highlight really quick. High water consumption, about 1 million gallons of water per day. Even closed loop systems use a ton of water. Compare this to Olympic-sized pools, which are 660,000 gallons of water. So just to give you an idea of how much water these use. High energy consumption, using more than a whole city, definitely more than Sparta. This ends up costing more in our utility fees, so DT puts that cost on us. Right now, Illinois is facing power supply issues due to data center demand. They run 24/7. So they will experience power outages in the future. Minimal long-term jobs. The big thing is risk of water contamination and well depletion. I know a lot of farmers should be worried about that. Environmental groups are reporting that communities that live near data centers have an increased risk of cancer. They're also reporting right now that PFAS from data centers are directly and indirectly contaminating communities. And I feel like most people know what that is. It's a forever chemical. They're dealing with that in Rockford, Michigan right now. It's susceptible to toxic fires, nitrate contamination. Amazon data center in Eastern Oregon has been linked to huge rise of rare cancers, muscle conditions, and miscarriages due to the increase of nitrates in the water. And that's just been studied right now too. So data centers are coming here because of tax breaks. And they think that Michigan has an unlimited supply of water. This is untrue. A few years ago, Wes and we did some work with Ottawa County. They have problems with their aquifer, so it doesn't recharge quick enough. So they wanted to do educational native gardens because we're trying to teach people other ways of instead of grass, use native plants because they're drought tolerant, they use less water. So it was a really great opportunity. But they did that because they're experiencing water shortages. So this is another thing. People think we have a ton of water, but individually these watersheds were dealing with this. And I'm not sure about Sparta right now, but I'd be interested to talk to people about that. So small or large data centers, I want to be clear, are bad. Both sizes. They use a ton of resources. So what can we do? As some pointed out during the meeting, I think it's really smart to reach out to experts during this time. My suggestion would be to reach out to any grassroots organization. The EDRA of Michigan is a nonprofit. They would be a wonderful place to start. I actually have some community checklists that they have on their website I can share, and if people are interested, can talk to me about it. Other townships have successfully pushed back on AI, so reaching to those townships. And lawyers, I'm not sure, I know in the last meeting you guys talked that you will reach out to the lawyer, so see exactly what we can do legally. So with that said, this will take time, and I believe the township should pass a moratorium to give the board and community time to better understand what Sparta can do to help protect against AI. So I also, with the EDRA, they supply a ton of helpful information, and one of the things they added was the Springfield Charter Township, the resolution instituting a temporary moratorium on approval of data centers. And this just really did a great job of breaking down exactly what that would mean. So if this is something the township lawyer could look at and see if that's something we can do. I just want to make sure, like the village, they define things, which I think is super smart because we don't want data centers just to come here and use all of our water and resources. And so I think it's really important for the future of Sparta to really discuss this before a data center comes. Because right now in Kent County, we have Gaines Township is dealing with this. I know Microsoft just bought a ton of land, so I'm just trying to get us ahead of this, just like the village just did. I think it's important, let's redefine it, but also how do we restrict these so they don't come here? So thank you so much.
Well, thanks a lot, Jackie. Now incidentally, planning commission, which meets the 13th, which is next
they gonna call
Tuesday,
this?
you can make that. They got data centers on their agenda
Well, I will be there.
at 7 p.m. So.
Awesome. Thank you,
Awesome.
guys.
Thanks a lot, Jackie.
Thank you.
Is there any more public comment? Did this little girl raise her hand? Okay. Well, with that, I'll end the meeting. Well, gotta have a motion and a second to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Marcy to adjourn, and is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Barb. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, signify by saying nay. Passed unanimously, we're adjourned.
Yeah. You guys see kids over there? Oh, yeah. Is that like usually open? No, you gotta call it. Oh, they will? Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do.
Okay, like I'm the right then.
Yeah. My dad used to walk there. Oh, yeah. Like when I was.
That'd be good.
Oh, my mom.
Yeah, he said that, we're working out. I don't think.
No.
The railroad is, they wouldn't say anything.
He's the one who kept saying that we went bankrupt.
She didn't see it on line today.
Oh, I'm sorry. I will call him now.